All right, so I reached out to OTB recently and was trying to look for some discs to pick up in the off season. I was looking to replace some spots in my bag and I said, hey, can you send me a box of discs? And here's everything I have in my bag, just see what you can replace. And so he went in, picked out a bunch of discs for me, and I don't know what's in here. I'm really excited because it should be pretty much tailor-made to fit right into my bag. So I'm gonna take them out, I'm gonna try them out. I'll take some of my discs out of my bag, put these in, and we'll see how they fly. It's a little windy out here, so try to be as productive as we can. Let's see what's in here. Oh, nice. And he gave me a nice towel. Try my best to make this lighting look okay. Okay, first off, we got a time lapse. So that's fun. We could try that one out. Next up, we have, I have no idea what this is. I don't see anything under the rim that tells me. Okay. Here we have a Discmania first run, Discmania Originals. I believe this is, okay, this is a CD1, Discmania CD1. All right, here we have, okay, Streamline Drift. I've never heard of this before. It looks sick. 7.5 -2.1, kind of a flippy fairway, flippy 7-speed. And we got one more. This is a Pyro, Neutron Plastic Axiom Pyro. So we're gonna try all those out. I have no idea what this disc is, so maybe I'll be able to figure that out. Maybe I can ask him, but I'll throw it anyways. All right, so I'm gonna try out the time lapse first on this one. Oh, and I figured out what this disc is. It is a Legacy Patriot, also a 7.5 -2.1, so similar to that other disc that I have. So I guess I can try to compare them against each other. And it's sparkle something plastic, I don't know. Got like a crazy left to right crosswind here. Kind of want to go hyzer. I have no idea if this is stable enough, so I'm just gonna try and see how it flies. It feels like weirdly light, even though it's max weight. Try and put on a bunch of hyzer. Oh. Wow, that's surprisingly stable. The wind kind of knocked it down, but that was actually pretty good. All right, just for comparison's sake, I'm gonna throw my Halo Destroyer on that same line. I feel like this should be a bit more stable. Yeah, it's definitely more stable. All right, time lapse made it to like literally the worst spot possible because I got to putt around this guy. I think it just didn't really have the stability to cut into the wind, but I think it is kind of stable. Maybe we'll try it out in some other lines. It is like, I'm getting like 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts right into my face right now too. So I don't think I can do much here. I was right. All right, Halo Destroyer as predicted, more stable. Was able to come back to the basket, have like a 25-foot, 20-mile-an-hour headwind putt. All right, here we go. First putt of the day. Oh. All right, to me, this is like the perfect hole right here to test out both of these flippy 7 speeds. Got 330 to the pin. It's kind of like this flip up line, so you want it to release on hyzer, flip up a little bit to the right, and then finish right at the basket. So these are both 7.5 -2.1. They should both do relatively the same thing. I'm gonna put them on some hyzer and see what happens. I'm gonna guess just based on the plastic feel that this is gonna be a bit flippier, but let's give it a go. We have the Drift and the Patriot. So let's go with the Patriot first. Oh, I don't know if that was me or the wind. I wanna say it was the wind because it was going right to the basket and then just kind of died, but that looked nice. All right, drift time, and this is, man, look at how pretty this disc is. Look at how pretty that is, if it focuses. Very nice colors. Wow. I just got robbed. Now this might just be the way I threw it, but it seemed like the drift had a bit more stability to it, which is not really what I expected. Should be a pretty routine upshot, although it's not because of this stupid wind. All right, I'm feeling like a little bit of tailwind here, so I think this was going pretty much right where I wanted and just tailwind did its thing. Still though, makeable putt, a little bit obstructed. Not a good attempt. Oh, all right, skipping ahead to hole 4. I think this is actually a great hole to really let the time lapse shine. It says on the sign, I think it's 380. Kind of gotta get a little bit of movement, so we'll see what the time lapse can handle here. I think there's a bit of a headwind out there, although the wind's kind of at a bit of a lull. I'm also gonna try the CD1. All right, that's what it says, CD1, yes. Last I remember, I threw a CD1. It was a little bit flippy. This is the Discmania Originals first run. I don't know if that's anything different, but I'm gonna try it out here. Just put it on hyzer and see what it does. I'm just gonna throw this time lapse kind of like a straight flying destroyer, and we'll just see what happens. I don't know what it is about MVP like drivers. It like feels light. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels lighter than other discs, even though it isn't. It might be like the weight distribution, like it's more on the rim. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's very cool looking though. Okay, that is overstable. Okay, that's kind of like more overstable than most of my regular Star Destroyers. I'm actually gonna throw this on pretty much the same line I just threw that on. I think it actually will fly pretty well. Okay. I flipped a little bit, but that's circle's edge maybe? All right, time lapse didn't really get the turn I wanted. Kind of finished out into a branch, super short. Just give it a little one of these. Oh yeah, that's a par. Yeah, CD1, man, look at this. I got like a 30 footer, 25 footer. Again, ridiculous wind, but this is a really good shot. I am pleased. There we go. Now the putt's a little warmed up. All right, I think this is a good opportunity to test out the Drift and the Patriot again against each other. This is a little bit more open and it's approximately the same distance. This is 340. I think we have some weird swirly headwind, so this will really show how good these are in a little bit of wind. Again, I'm gonna go with the Patriot first. I can take off that little sticker too. Maybe that's messing me up. I'm not really feeling the wind too much. I don't really know where it is. I'm just gonna try and flip it up through that gap right in the middle and get it to ride to the basket. Make sure I give it a little bit of height this time so the wind doesn't mess with me. All right, I think we're dealing with mostly tailwind here. Okay. All right. Whoa. That kind of came back in the fairway. All right. It is flippy. I can't give it a ton of torque and like have it come out flat because it's just gonna ride it right. Let's try to fix that mistake here with the Drift. I'm still gonna try and crank on it though. I just want to put it on a bit more hyzer. Wow. Okay. Whoa. All right, so you really got to put those on hyzer if you're gonna throw them hard. Those both just burned over. Since it appears the time lapse is fairly overstable, we have this shot that goes out and then dog legs left. It's a par 4. You kind of want to push like 400 off the tee to have a pretty easy upshot. I usually throw my Halo Destroyer, which isn't gonna have quite as much glide as something like I imagine a time lapse or like a regular Destroyer, but I'm kind of curious, and I'm not gonna get too much of a good read because of the wind. I'm kind of curious if I give this a lot of hyzer and a lot of height, if it like glides far enough to get way up the fairway as opposed to an like overstable disc like a Halo Destroyer that's just gonna dump out. Like I have to imagine this isn't gonna be as stable as a Halo Destroyer, but I kind of want to see what it does. So I'll throw both again. I'll throw the Halo Destroyer, which I normally throw, and I'll throw this, and we'll kind of see where the difference and where they land are. So I'll throw the Halo Destroyer first here because that's what I'm used to. Oh yeah, that's so money. All right, that's about as good as a drive as you can ever get on this hole. Let's see if this guy can do any better. You know, just in the hand, I think the rim, I don't know if this is the overmold, the rim does feel like a little bigger. I feel like it's like I've held like a Boss before, a 14 speed in my hand, and they're usually feel more like this. They're not quite like that, but it does feel like a bit of a bigger rim than a Destroyer. Oh, I threw it so inside. Oh, it went anyways. Okay, I missed my mark. Wind kind of pushed it down and it went through the branches, so we're all good. All right, you should be able to see both discs here. Time lapse is here. Halo Destroyer is maybe 15 feet further, 10 feet further off to the right. I'm gonna say that I'm kind of right. I can't really tell because it did get knocked down by the wind and probably didn't go as far because of that. And it still got to a really good spot. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I might just do a whole video on the time lapse. I'll throw it on like one more hole today, but I want to try to do like a whole video on the time lapse because I'm really not sure like what slot it fills as a disc at all for me right now. let's just throw these up there. I'll go zone from here and then Toro from over there. Gotta hang it out because of the wind too. Yeah, look at how much it moves in. Nice. Bounce off the rock, give me a 30-footer. Toro should be easy, and this is a great spot too. Oh, and the wind just died right when I threw it. Oh, it just pushed straight instead of coming back. Crazy to me how much wind plays a role. I threw these discs pretty much the same, like 15 seconds apart. The wind died down for one of them and it just went straight that way. And this one, there was lots of wind and it just kind of got pushed to the left and went right where I wanted it to. I threw them very similarly, and now the Toro's like way gone. Now this is a bit of a tester. All right, let's go see the Toro. See, like I don't really mind playing in wind all that much, but it's this like gusty wind that does it for me, where I just can't predict what's gonna happen when the disc leaves my hand. And then now I gotta make this like crazy on the ground putt, and it's into a headwind, of course. I'm gonna like try to put it on hyzer and have it float back into the basket. That'd be pretty sick. It might actually work with the headwind too. I'll have to spin it a little bit. Oh, now the headwind's gone, so it's not gonna work. Yeah. Oh, can't say I didn't try. All right, we're running out of daylight a little bit. We got the sun setting behind me. There's one disc I haven't got to try out yet, which is this Pyro, which is actually one of the ones I was most excited to try because I've had the Buzz in my bag since last year, and I probably could count on one hand how many times I've thrown it in tournament. So this could be a good replacement for it. I couldn't really think of a hole that I would throw it on this course, unfortunately, but I walked over to this, hole 16. It's like a little over 300 feet. It's uphill, and it's into a crazy headwind right now. Crazy for a overstable mid-range. I usually would throw like, honestly, like a Halo Destroyer on a big hyzer, so it would have enough glide and just spike back down. So I used to throw mid on this, but like a less flippy one. I'm gonna try, see what happens, just to kind of see how it flies, because I could see myself replacing the Buzz OS. But yeah, enough chit chat, I'm just gonna try it. I like put so much on that and just slipped on the mud on my shoes. Yep, I landed right in front of the mound. So I think without wind, that would be like perfect. Just for fun, let's throw a time lapse on a big hyzer. Literally landed in the same spot. I put it so high. All right, the Pyro actually went like a little bit further than the time lapse. I am actually surprised. I don't know if you can tell on the camera how much headwind there is right here, but it is a good 20, 25 miles an hour just gusting into my face. So the fact that I got a 5-speed, overstable mid-range, almost 300 feet uphill, doesn't sound that exciting, but it was pretty good. Let's see if I can make this putt. I'll give myself 2 tries to make this putt. It's a tough one. Look at that. You see it fluttering in the wind? Try it again. Golly, this is the time of year when it's very difficult to play solid rounds of disc golf. Dry and muddy and cold and windy. Oh my gosh, you hear that? Hopefully my microphone's good enough that you don't. Oh, and goodbye. All right, last hole, and I'm gonna really put the time lapse to the test on this one. Hole 18, 716. You wanna go straight, and then when you get to those big pine trees way off to the right, you wanna finish left, get in the fairway so we can test out the backhand. Of course, we still have a ripping headwind, so it seems like this is the disc to hold up to that wind that's coming in. And then if we put it in a good spot, we should be able to test it out on forehand as well, which I think this will actually be a pretty good forehand disc. To go up against it, I have my beat up Halo Destroyer. I imagine pretty similar in flight. This thing is flippier than when I got it, but still overstable because it's a Halo Destroyer. You can see these branches moving around a little bit. I always feel like it doesn't look like it quite as much in videos, but it's windy out here. It's pretty dang windy. When I got up this morning, there was a little wind symbol on my weather app, if that tells you anything. Dude, this disc might not even go 400. This is just too much. Wow. It didn't flip up one bit. That's actually really bad. If it flipped up a little more, it would have rode right and then finished in the middle. Instead, it ended up in like the worst spot you could get. All right, I'm gonna throw the Halo Destroyer exactly the same, just to see if it really is as stable as it feels. Dude, look at that. Okay, I definitely threw that a bit more turned over. It literally just chopped over into the wind. All right, let's try one more time. I'm pretty sure I threw that a little bit too flat. Yeah, see how it kind of flips up a little more? It's still Oh, come on. That was gonna be right in the middle of the fairway. All right, looks like we lost audio there towards the end, but we have the backup mic because I knew it was low on battery. So anyway, last shot. This is pretty much where a good shot's gonna land. We got the basket up there. Goes up and then finishes right on that mound. So it's like a great setup for a forehand. Probably a little bit close for throwing a 12 speed, but we have a lot of headwind, so maybe it isn't. Pretty much every throw, except this blue one and like 2 others that were like kind of good, were pretty bad. But this blue one, the last one, is like where a good drive lands, so we're gonna play from there. And yeah, time lapse, a little more overstable than I thought, even into the headwind. Definitely need to do like a whole video on it and really test out all the angles with it, but first impressions is it's pretty overstable. Let's see how it looks on a forehand. I'll go Halo Destroyer first. Also realizing you might not be able to hear me that well, I'm so used to having a microphone right here. Oh, come back. All right, I threw it into a tree. Time lapse can save us here. Whoa. I don't even know what just happened. I feel like I threw it flat and then it somehow turned over. That might have just been a bad throw by me. All right, first impression on all of these discs. First off, we'll go instability. So Pyro, I threw it once, seems pretty good. Probably too windy to really get a feel for it. Held up to the wind pretty well, which is good. I could see it replacing my Buzz OS. Will it make the bag? Sure, I'll throw it in my bag for a little bit. I don't really throw the Buzz OS, so why not replace it? That's going in the bag. Next up, we have the 7 speeds. These are both the same flight numbers. I'm not really sure how I feel about these. Right now in this slot, I have a Leopard 3, which is I think the same flight numbers. I could see either of these replacing it. My issue with the Halo Leopard 3 is it's like kind of stable, and these are definitely less stable. If I'm leaning towards either one, probably the Drift. I like how it looks, and it seemed to be like a touch more stable when I put it on hyzer, which is kind of what I want in this slot. Although I might just rotate both of these in and out and see how they feel. For now, I think I'm gonna throw the Drift into my bag to replace my Leopard 3 and just see how it feels. Next up is the CD1. I had a CD1, I tried it out, didn't like it initially, I ended up giving it to a friend. I could see, honestly, the CD1 replacing my Undertaker. I have an ESP Undertaker. I don't really like the Z Undertaker all that much. It doesn't feel very good in my hands. ESP Undertaker feels a little better. Honestly, still not great. The rim feels really small. This actually feels like it's a slightly larger rim. It's the same flight numbers and maybe like a touch more stable than the Undertaker. And again, that's kind of what I want. I don't want it to be too flippy because in conditions like this, it just doesn't work out very well. Like I would never throw the Undertaker in this wind unless it's a straight tailwind. I honestly think I'm putting this in my bag. So doesn't make the bag. I'm gonna say yes. This is taking the slot of my Undertaker. And last but not least, we have the time lapse. I have seriously no idea if this disc ever fits in my bag or what role this disc really fills. It just might not be a disc for me. I don't think I've really adequately tested it out. I expected it to be less stable. I kind of expected it to be similar to a Star Destroyer out of the box, which in my experience are a bit flippier than maybe the flight numbers suggest. And a lot of the Star Destroyers I throw are pretty beat in. So time lapse has potential, seems like a decent forehand disc. It actually went into the headwind pretty far past that tree. It just wasn't a good spot. I think I'm gonna do an entire video testing this disc out. Lots of angles, like hyzer, maybe trying to get it to flip a little bit, getting it to turn over, beating it up and see if it flies different. It feels good in my hand and it seems to fly kind of nice, but I don't think I figured it out. So it's not making the bag yet. It's unlikely it ever will because I have all these destroyers, but you know, I'm gonna test it out. It's all the hype right now, so I might as well get some rounds in with it. Anyway, thanks Sam, thanks to OTB for sending that out to me. Check out the link in my description to go to otbdisc.com. You can use code Tyler at checkout to get 10% off. If you want to check out my Patreon, help me out a little bit. I send you guys some stuff as well on Patreon, which is nice. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.